Man, I talked about this a smidgen on the live Thursday. So we did a couple lives during the middle of the week. I think we did Thursday and Tuesday. I wanted to do Wednesday, but I can't even remember why I didn't do Wednesday. I really wasn't much to talk about. I could have switched it up and did something else, but I was just being lazy. That's my workout alarm. That's how I know I'm too late to go to. I'm pushing. I'm kind of on that time of pushing it going to workout, but I got to get up early this morning, and I got to go in like super duper early. So fuck it, might as well get that money, right? Money. But I talked about this a smidget on Thursday's live about what should Canelo do next. And some people, I think Eddie Hearn had a good interview I played. Some people took it as hating, but I didn't take it as hating. Basically said this could be a negotiation tactic to get more money out of Canelo above retiring, or something like that, right? And I mean, yeah, it ain't that random a possibility. He said it could have been injuries. At the end of the day, it could have been nothing that really, really gets you up, for the most part. No Diddy. No Diddy Doc. No Kevin Spacey. No Kanye. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, man, when you an athlete, it's what drives you. See a lot of athletes, it's the famous line by Marvin Hagler. It's hard to get up and run when you sleeping in silk sheets. What drives you? And a lot of people is driven by failure. They driven by their parents' disapproval or their approval. You'll be surprised how many people that's really driven by fear of failure, fear of going back. The fear of having to, do this and having to go back to doing that. Like, that's what drives people. You see people that's very ambitious. A lot of times it's just the fear of failure. It's not because failure is bad, because you're going to fail. It's like literally, like, I don't want to go back to how I was growing up, or I don't want to have my kids going back how I grew up. I don't want to go back there. So that's what keep a lot of people from popping niggas in the head and going to jail or smacking their boss or something like that. And that's what drives a lot of people to success. So, when you feel like you comfortable and you made it, you did enough, you set your life up for life after fighting. I mean, and it ain't nobody there. I think his retirement, it came into play, and his drive died when Big lost. That's what it was. Had Lara won, he probably would have fought Lara or whatever. But Canelo, what's next? My thing is this is what I would do if I was him. I try to grab a belt. I would avoid a guy like Christian Mbili first, especially for a first fight back. I just think it's too much activity. But if you're gonna fight David Benavidez, that's definitely a fight I would want to take before I fought Benavidez. Because Benavidez is just as active, about stronger. Mbili might be a little bit more, he's reckless, you know what I'm saying? So you just want to get that, you want to get that speed, you know what I'm saying? That's the number one thing you want to get down pat. You want to kind of get a style like that, and really punching between the punches. So kind of, I'm not quite Benavidez, but it's a great way to prepare for Benavidez, right? But I'll get to that. I would avoid him, try to get a belt coming back. Try to get a belt coming back. If I can grab a belt, then maybe, if I'm going to go out on my shield, maybe I go out there and fight Erislandy Lara. Have him come up. He got robbed out of an opportunity to be undisputed or a big fight with Bud. I have him come up. I settle that grudge match and be done with it. That'll probably be if I win, maybe I go out beating Erislandy Lara, say some reckless shit about me and my brother, beat my brother ass. It's a chapter that you can close. Or after you beat Lara, you can just go retire. I mean, you can go a farewell fight in Mexico. Or, you can just do a farewell fight in Mexico next and just call it a day. Go out on a winning note. It's a celebration, Also, you can go on a tour. Maybe go on like a Mexican tour where you fight every other week or something like that. Good Tecate fighters, whatever, and then maybe, something like that. Go out on a little tour, celebration for Canelo for about a month, 60 days, whatever it may be. You can do that. I mean, obviously, you can fight David Benavidez, fight the winner of him and Gilberto Ramirez. You can go up to cruiserweight, fight the guy that beat Badu Jack. I think those are all viable options. I don't think you go up to cruiserweight and you fight Benavidez. Maybe perhaps you, if Gilberto Ramirez, when you go up to cruiserweight and you fight him. So there's some options out there for him on the floor. You know, there's options. And I'm not mad at them. Man, there are options on the floor. So, you know, but I think the more viable route is probably the tour, or, you know, grabbing a belt and having Lara come up. You know, that's what I think the more viable route is. You know, Mbili, Lester, them young killers, man, they real active. You gonna fight Benavidez, I'm fighting one of those guys to prepare me for that fight, which is dangerous. You know, maybe you can offer Crawford a couple more dollars. But honestly, for him, you know, if I'm him, I'll probably just, you know, try to get a belt and make the play at Lara and close that chapter. You didn't get a chance to close the Bud chapter as of now. Probably not looking to close the Benavidez rematch. Didn't rematch Floyd Mayweather. So yeah, the beef will be a rematch, excuse me. So yeah, that's something I'd be looking to do if I was him, you know. At least close that Lara chapter. You know, both older fighters. Lara was talking reckless, you know, put your brother dick in the dirt. I remember that. Was talking crazy to you. So yeah, you know, that's a nice little line or whatever, but yeah, you know, celebrate. He done a lot for his community. He done a lot for the sport. Celebrate it. Go out with even if you beat Lara, I feel like it's a celebration, good way to go out. You don't want to go out like Sugar Ray Leonard. You know what I'm saying? You know, you want to go out like some of these dudes, you know, like Deontay going out. You know, I feel like you know, you want to go out like a Marquez went out versus Tim Bradley. You know what I'm saying? You know, a lot of the fights he had with Pacquiao. What's the kid who robbed him in Indonesia? What's his name? Chris John? He's complaining got robbed in Indonesia. And that's pretty much what Marquez was pretty much known for. Even though he did end up knocking out Pacquiao, having great fights with Pacquiao, he was always known for making excuses. And I believe his last fight was Bradley, right? What was his excuse? Oh, he got robbed versus Tim Bradley. And he got outboxed. That's what he was known for. He went out how he was really pretty much known for, making excuses. And I love Marquez. That's what he went out. That's what he went out on, off the strength of making excuses. That's what he went out for. Went out as. So for the most part, you want to go out celebrating. I wouldn't mind a nice Canelo celebration. Who wouldn't? You know, victory lap, however you want to do it. But a Lara way is a good way to close the books. If I'm being honest, it's a good way to close. It's a good way to close it out. If I'm being 100% honest, it's a good way to close it out. So that's what I would do. If you want to go up there to cruiserweight, or you want to bring Benavidez back down to light heavyweight, you know, so be it. I mean, those are good options. Probably not gonna fight better BF. Probably shouldn't. Not gonna fight Dimitri Bivol in a rematch. Okay, cool. Yeah, why not Lara? You know, that's a nice way. I think Lara's done enough for the sport. I think he's the greatest PBC fighter of all time. You know, that's what I feel. Never popped hot. You know, had to put, you know, robbed the shit out of Carlos Molina. You know, but then again, he got robbed by Paul Williams, so it all fucking panned out. I mean, he's been steady. He's been their best fighter over there. You know, and I'm not including Mayweather's not a PBC fighter in my opinion. He's just Mayweather. So he was the best they had to offer. Unfortunately, he was robbed of fights with the Charlos. You know, they was our kids play together. We not fighting them. He talked shit to them. They ain't want it, but you know, that's how it goes. So yeah, if I'm Canelo Alvarez, you know, that's the way I go out. I don't want to go out off that loss for sure. Let me say that. You know, I don't want to go off that loss. Go out with your hands holding high. You know, go out with a celebration. You know, even though that'll be part of your career, it won't make the story bad. Everybody can't win them all. Everybody can't right their wrongs. But at least you want to, you know, right one questionable decision versus Lara. Can't get Mayweather. So, yeah. No, right now, Bud, you know, they don't look like an option. So, yeah, right your wrong, homeboy. But that's just my opinion on it. Hit the link in the description. The first link, the link tree. You can find me everywhere. Patreon, join it. X, Facebook, Kick, Twitch. My other platforms where I'm producing content at. You won't regret it. You know, and it's just my opinion on what he should do next. And it might be a unique opinion. It might be an opinion that somebody else shared. I don't know. But hey, thumbs up the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. The subscribe button is the bell icon button. Hit all notifications. Increase your chance to get notifications when we go live and drop video. Peace.